After doing a lot of research, I have found the best builds in preseason for each class that have managed to clear T100 Nightmare dungeons, except for Rogue, which didn't. I'm sorry. Nevertheless, these builds are not the ones that are known to efficiently kill Echo of Lilith, as most builds that achieve that are using gimmicky mechanics or exploits to get it done, and as such I want to deliver you something that most likely will remain a viable build once season launches. And hey, if you like this, I heard subscribing is pretty cool. Considering that the world first T100 clear was achieved by a Druid player called Zard1991, it's only fair we cover his class first. To no surprise, Stalwart Tornado Druid is the build that managed to do it. Using the insanely high hit count of tornadoes, combined with Grizzly Rage being able to stack crit damage to extremely high numbers, this build guarantees sky-high defenses, crazy big damage, and proves that Werewolf and Storm skills are in fact extremely strong, despite the initial community feedback. Oh, and don't worry, I'll be posting many guides detailing these builds in the coming days. Moving on to the Sorcerer, the build that everyone played and everyone expected to work, Iceshard's Frost Sorcerer is the best build for the class. With this variant running Blizzard, it's a safe way of applying an extra CC for aspect of control. Arcade, being the first player to clear T100, has proven that despite the class being relatively squishy, it's still doable with the right playstyle. Sorcerer mains know that your defense is tied to cooldown reduction, and the build scares just that. Paired with high lucky hit chance and maxed out crit, this build has single target potential out of this world. Granted, the target can't be crowd controlled. A honorable mention has to be made as Snowtroll, Maxwell content creator and one of the best Sorcerer build makers, has been melting Echo of Lilith with his Blizzard focus variant that he's also used to push high nightmare keys. This leaves you with options and the unique ability to tailor the build to your playstyle and still find great success with it. Necromancer, after the plethora of nerfs from the betas, felt underwhelming, yet minionless builds seem to thrive after all, with notable outliers such as Overpower Bloodsurge and Exploding Shadow Mist Necro, the latter being used by Nakabun to clear T100 and being backed by Gazi since the beta where he claimed it's going to be the strongest Necromancer build. He was right. Combining ridiculously high uptime on Blood Mist, guaranteeing immunity, being able to group mobs together with corpse centrals, great damage coming from the corpse explosions, and the ability to engage packs safely without fear of dying, allowed this build to be one of the best at successfully clearing T100 Nightmare dungeons. Whirlwind Barbarian being undeniably the strongest build in the game prior to its nerfs would make for a boring T100 clear. However, with all the nerfs and fixes to Gore specifically, Whirlwind became significantly weaker without abusing exploits. Following also the nerfs to Upheaval and Deathblow left Barbarians with limited choice, yet Hammer of the Ancients turned out to be a very powerful build. A Chinese player was the first one to clear T100 using this build, albeit not without gimmicks and item swaps, but considering the world first level 100 and a Barbarian Guru, we're up to 628, is also playing the build, albeit in a slightly different form, it's pretty much a guarantee at this point that this build is capable of clearing the hardest content in the game through massive burst damage, solid defenses, the unique ability among Barbarians to do damage from a minimal distance, safeguarding them from harm, and the general ability to scale aspects to the weapon arsenal. Last but not least, the Rogue. Unfortunately, according to my research, no Rogue has managed to clear a T100 dungeon quite yet, due to the class's difficulty to scale high defenses other than lifesteal, unlike the other classes. Combined with limited damage options and recent nerfs to Twisting Blades, it's left the class feeling a little unloved. Nevertheless, it does appear that Woody Joe's Death Trap Rogue is still an extremely strong build that players manage to use to get to the highest nightmare tiers, meaning that there's a reasonable chance that T100 clear is right around the corner. This build provides strong burst, crowd control, fast mobility, and great damage, with the ability to shorten the cooldown of traps, nullifying the long cooldowns on both Poison and Death Trap, allowing for one of the quickest clearing builds even if it lacks in the absolute endgame power. A lot of other viable builds exist, with interesting ones such as Bleed Barbarian or Poison Shredder Druid, both melting Echo of Lilith, yet considering their gimmicky nature and potential nerfs hitting them very soon, I prefer to stay clear of them. If I'm wrong about anything, or perhaps miss some information, don't be afraid to yell at me in the comments. I love the abuse. And if you liked it instead, do subscribe. Aranethius out.